preparing for vows and acquiring a new breviary. To punctuate the moments of the world with ancient thinking, thought and thought again, in placid prayer, while onward we are hurled to happenings of things, and to refrain from letting things but happen, through being born by these refrains and echoes of a past that lingers in each eve and dawn and morn, and night and noon, at which we anchor cast. This is to wait upon the sound of hours until their meaning comes. This is to be upon the bridge of seconds, where the powers of coming and ere gone can look to see where all is at upon this little ball, whose spinning slows with one page's aged call. With regard to the prehistory, it's somewhat intertwined because the background is Welsh, and therefore in the Welsh Wales that would tend to mean free churches, the Baptist thing in our case, and the vocation was there from a fairly early age, but it would have gone in that direction. But because it was there, then obviously the interest in history and church history and things of that nature was also there. So reading around, one is aware of certain issues, especially as one has contact with other cultures. Having linguists at home, a lot of travelling was going on, spending time in other countries over the summer because of the interest in languages, and therefore the awareness of the Catholic Church and its importance, a big monolith compared with the diversification that one has in even a small Welsh area with many, many different chapels. So it does pose problems. So basically the actual challenge of the Catholic Church came in fairly early, and even though baptism happened at the age of 13, because one has to ask for it with the Baptist system there, it happens by total immersion, nevertheless already at 14, 15 the turning in the direction of the Catholic Church was already there, and at 15 it was already there clearly, and so the question of what to do about it was a bit difficult, being underage. And so anyway, the bishop who eventually confirmed me, who's still alive, Bishop Mullins, who eventually was the one who wrote to have the Welsh material published there to the Welsh Shelters, but anyway, he made it possible for me to be received in the Catholic Church underage. He got my parents as well, and he had a chat with them in Welsh. And the influence there in that Catholic period was very monastic, because the parish that I happened to be in was a monastic parish, so the influence there was dominated by the monastic scene straight away, and therefore the conditioning was, I suppose, spontaneous. There were 6 or 7 Benedictines there looking after our parish, and in Cardiff they were chanting away the office, and they had the habit. It was very moving. And then one day Dom Lawrence, who was instructing me, he said, "Well, I've been talking to Dom Kevin, and we think it would be a good idea to spend the Easter period there at our monastery. Go to our forth. We can help you to get there economically, don't worry about that, but go out there, meet the abbot and see a bit of Benedictine splendour." So anyway, off I went up to the monastery, and of course that was quite moving. And so the novice master took care of me, and he's died now, but he was good to me. But anyway, the influence was there, and then I wanted to enter Prynich, which was a near monastery to us. It was a Benedictine monastery without a school. It was quiet there. They had the white habit still, and because they'd been an Anglican community earlier on Caldy. But anyway, it was a good community, and I thought they were going to take me straight from school, but the abbot said at the last minute to go to university. So that's what happened. Then, anyway, all that to say that the monastic thing was the norm if one is, as it were, brought up and conditioned by that. But the English Benedictine scene is somewhat complex, because they are very much involved in schools and parishes, at least they were at the time, and that was slightly a problem with regard to the purely contemplative life, hence the reaction of wanting to go eventually to France, where things were far more vertical. They're pretty strict. The monastic life in France is recognised to be pretty strict, and so that does challenge and draw a young man quite often And it's true that if one wants the serious monastic life, it's to France that one still tends to go. It's more strict than in Italy, for instance. The French are pretty strict, and they know what they want, which explains why, being idealistic, they tend also sometimes to have absolute lines on things, and that's what got me into a difficult situation with regard to the poetry, because in a British situation or an Irish situation, things probably would have been handled in a different way, because it's not always either or, but both and in Britain, and I think in Ireland as well. They tend to take on a lot of things which aren't just vertical, and therefore that has made it more adaptable, and the monastic life in Britain, and probably in Ireland as well, has been able to insert itself in a situation of a greater influence on some levels because of its openness, also on the level of contact with people and of things that they do which they might not do in France. So it's kind of a complex issue. Student among the Jesuits sent back to study at Milltown there in Dublin. This is reference to a message with regard to the future. Along the corridors of learning here we walk again and gain a little more for thought and mutterance, for very near to those who pick the sleeping brains of yore are hovering weighty truths, and we are one with souls that have long gone on and on, to knowings deepened much, for such have done their thinking, for each thought for one day shone. O thinker of the world, to know and rest within thine ancient vision, and to hear these syllables traced, steered at thy behest, this is to know that this vast isle is clear, and that the hand that holds me holds it all, and bids me but walk on where angels call.